Today we're going to talk about mastering communication in high conflict situations and how you can say goodbye to awkward silences and those verbal grenades. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm a coach and consultant helping professionals master difficult conversations and lead with confidence under pressure, because I think that we all have different aspects of that in our daily lives, in our current roles, right? Let's be honest. Handling high conflict conversations, it feels like diffusing a bomb most of the time without any kind of ammunition. One wrong word and boom, emotions explode, defenses rise, and suddenly you're staring at your own workplace drama, right? But what if I told you that there's a way to navigate these tense moments without losing your cool or, most importantly, your credibility? So you don't need magic, you just need a strategy. So research shows that 85% of employees deal with conflict to some degree, and 29% say that they deal with it almost constantly. Are you one of those people? I know I see a lot of conflict, regardless of roles, dealing with cross-functional teams. So I would say the 29% is probably a little low, but that's just my opinion. Even worse is that unresolved conflict, it can lead to stress, reduced productivity, and even turnover in your organization, which those three things are the bomb, and not the bomb in a good way. Things that you don't want in your organization, right? And here's the kicker. 70% of conflicts are due to communication breakdown. I don't think anybody's really surprised by that, but most of it is communication breakdown rather than personality clashes, believe it or not. So that's great news, because communication is not something you're born with. It is a skill that you develop, and skills can be learned, and you can grow and become a master communicator, even in these difficult conversations. The first step to doing that would be, let's de-escalate the situations with curiosity and not with combat. I know sometimes our emotions get the best of us and we want to just rush in and say what we want to say, or we're on our own agenda because it just sparks that emotional side of us, right? When something happens in a conversation. So when someone's coming at you with some heat, the best move isn't to match their fire. It's to play the curious observer. So try saying something like, "That's an interesting point. Can you help me understand what is driving that concern?" So you are asking questions in a very professional way, in a way that lets them put down their defenses in a sense, because if they're coming at you with heat, they're probably emotional too, right? So according to Harvard's Law School's program on negotiation, asking open-ended questions, it lowers the emotional temperature and it gives you a clearer view of the real issue behind the outburst. So it not only tries to diffuse the situation, but it also gives you the information you need to understand, where the heck is this even coming from, right? A second step is validate before you pivot. So most people aren't actually looking for a win. They're really not. They're just looking to feel heard. It's not a win or lose situation. So if you say something like, "I can see why that would be frustrating," you're acknowledging that they're frustrated. You're acknowledging that you can see their perspective, right? Or saying something like, "That's a valid point. I hadn't considered that angle." Right? So you're giving them some credit as well. So psychologists call this active validation, and it is powerful. Studies in conflict resolution show that simply feeling acknowledged, feeling heard, it can reduce aggressive responses by up to 40%. And that comes from the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology. So when we act in a way that we're listening, doing active listening, and also giving that active validation, that can be to our benefit in these high conflict situations. Step number 3 is let's name the tension, right? Sometimes the best way to cut through the awkwardness is to name what's happening. So for example, saying something like, I can sense we're both passionate about this. Let's slow it down a little so we can hear what each other is thinking or what we really want to get out of this situation. So sometimes just saying things are exploding too fast, let's break it down. Let's slow it down a little bit. Let's talk about the logistics. Let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about the situation, even if you break it down in small steps, right? Labeling the emotions in real time, which is a technique called affect labeling, it has been shown to calm the brain's threat response. In other words, you're literally helping both brains cool down. And that's what we want, right? We want to have a conversation. We don't want to have this win or lose and this aggression, right? Step number 4 is let's redirect to shared goals, because that's really what we're chasing, right? Conflict often derails because people forget their shared purpose. So let's bring it back, right? Let's bring it back to where we started. Trying saying something like, at the end of the day, we both want this project to succeed. How can we get there together? So it sounds like you are in that collaborative mindset to them. And this taps into that collaborative problem solving, which boosts cooperation even in high stakes negotiations. So give that a try. So let's do a quick recap on those 4 points. First is let's ask curious, open-ended questions. Second, let's validate their perspective, even if you disagree. And I know that's hard because it hits our emotions and we just want to blow up, but let's validate it. The third is name the emotional tension. And number 4 is redirect to shared goals, because that's really important. This is a collaborative effort. And if you're working, especially in a corporate environment, or you have a team in your company that you're leading, it's so really important to show that flexibility, that you're sharing goals, that you're open-minded, that you're listening. So some final thoughts here is high conflict situations don't have to hijack your day, even though you feel like they do, and they do for the most part, right? But we have to do a better job at that. So don't let it hijack your dignity or your day in general and take away all the good things that you could be doing in the day. When you master these communication tools, you don't just survive conflict, but you own the room. Yes, you. And that, my friend, is real power. So if you found this content valuable, please consider sharing and subscribing. If I can be of any assistance in helping you in your journey of achieving your goals and boosting your communication skills, or helping you in certain high conflict situations, I specialize in these key areas and I offer coaching and upcoming courses to provide you with tools that you need to beat. I'll leave the link to my website in the description below. So we'll see you all next time.